My name is Jarod Hynson. I own a company in Pennsylvania called Earth, Turf, and Wood Incorporated. We specialize in a lot of high-end residential design build projects. We implemented DynaSCAPE design about 2.5 years ago in our company. We have a registered landscape architect in-house who uses that primarily. And then about a year ago, we implemented Manage360. And so both of them are used together now to design and estimate all of our projects that we produce in the field. I think as the company grows along the way, that it is very common for landscape companies to not be able to recover their overhead correctly. And as we have begun to design more and more complex projects, the ability to be able to estimate and track these very accurately to give us a very good representation of what our true profit margin is became more and more critical. And so while the old method of spreadsheets worked when we were very small, we realized that the time had come to implement a good overhead recovery system, which Manage360 was with DynaSCAPEs. We implemented it in late December, and it took us about 3 months to get all the data in it and research production rates of our production crews in the field and put all that into Manage and kind of go about it in a different way of thinking than what we previously had done and develop different cost codes and so forth and so on. So the data entry took some time. But it was one of the most important things that we did. And fortunately, we already had a budget for the company, so that was DynaSCAPEs was able to set up our Manage360 account very quickly. Then it was just a matter of implementing everything else. A lot of the material costs went in first. A lot of the equipment costs went in first. And after all that was in and we gathered production rates in a conference room for a solid day from a lot of things that we normally produce in the field, then we began to put together the kits at that point. We actually did estimate the first several jobs without kits and then to get familiar with the system, and then we started building the kits at that point. There's 3 of us now that are using it. We're going to transition into a 4th person that will use Manage360, and our hope is within probably the next year is to be able to have our project managers implement their timesheets right on the iPads in the field so that we have daily accurate data as far as where we're at on all of our projects. We probably, like quite a few landscape contractors out there, did a lot of estimating off of Excel spreadsheets because it was the easiest way to come up with a representation of what a job truly should cost. So we were going from something we were extremely comfortable with to something entirely new and putting the trust in a new software program that we were actually going to be estimating these projects accurately. And it was really a little stressful for the first couple months being able to trust a program like this to work accurately. But 12 months have gone by, and I find myself saying I would never go back to an Excel spreadsheet at this point because I can't trust it enough because I've become so comfortable and seen the results of what Manage360 can do in recovering our overhead. We went into Manage stating that this is what the percentage profit was we wanted for the year. And as we close out the year in another couple weeks, we will hit that within 0.2%. So it is that accurate in working around what your budget is for the year and where you want to end up. In Manage360, yeah, it is. Because it's no longer one truck working out of a barn while working out of your house on a laptop. It's now you have an administrative staff, you have 5 or 6 trucks, you've got production crews, you have a lot of overhead with a company that you need to be able to accurately recover as your company grows. So yeah, that is one of the huge pluses, and the fact that we can estimate a lot of our jobs a lot faster. We do a lot of jobs that are 6-digit plus in residential settings, and we can accurately estimate these things in a half an hour to an hour. Days. And then we still weren't sure if it was even right, because we didn't have production rates, and we didn't have kits, and we didn't have an estimating program that, at times that I would sit down now and say, is that number really right? But we have one of our largest projects in production right now in the field, and it's been extremely interesting to watch as it's produced how accurate it is to what we had estimated against. So it does work. It is, and we've come a long way, and DynaSCAPE has really listened to a lot of our requests and stuff like that to make changes for the better for the program, which is a huge plus. I feel a lot more comfortable with it now than I did 9 months ago, and it'll be really interesting to see even where we're at in another year as we become more and more comfortable and learn things about the program that we didn't previously know. So we've become very comfortable with it at this point. I think one of the other benefits of it is that with the kits that are built, a design can be estimated now by a landscape architect that may not have as much construction experience, because she simply labels the kits as she designs. He or she labels the kits they design, and it will build that estimate for you. Now, you still need another set of eyes to look at this thing, but I feel confident in saying that probably 80 to 90% of that estimate can be done as kits are assigned, as plans are drawn. So you eliminate a lot of unnecessary time from that perspective. So. It's just a much faster process from initial site measurements through final proposal. And you know that the number's right when it goes out the door. So, and being able to assign general conditions, I think, is one of the biggest downfalls of a lot of landscape companies. You know how long it takes you to plant a tree, or you know how long it takes you to build a wall, but you forget that it's going to take you time to commute to the job site. It's going to take you time to clean up the job site every day. It's going to take you time to load and unload every day. These are all things that you can assign a certain amount of general conditions to these jobs, so that you know from the time that crew member punches in the morning to the time that crew member punches out at night, every minute of every day is accounted for in one of those categories. So you're recovering 100% of your time for the day accurately in one of those codes. So. I would think so. Had I known, well, this wasn't in existence, 5 years ago, but I would say on a design build company that it probably would make sense to implement it, if you can afford to do it, in the $300,000 to $500,000 range on a design build company. The sooner you implement it, the more profitable you're going to be as you grow. Versus, you get to a point where you're 2 to 3 million and you haven't implemented this. Well, now you've got a lot of work to implement it. So the earlier on you can do it, the better it's going to make your company long term. We were very comfortable with Excel spreadsheets. We were very comfortable, and I think a lot of landscape companies do this. We sell labor. That's how you make money. And so you come up with a list of materials, you decide your markup on your materials, and you guess at a labor rate. You guess at how many hours it's going to take you to do that. But when you've got more and more complex jobs with 20 different work areas on these things, it goes together a lot faster, and you become very comfortable with estimating this new way. So that's probably one of the biggest things we had to get used to, is just putting our trust and faith in a program that would work really well. So. The fact that they're listening and implementing changes and making the program better and better with every week that passes is huge. So that's you're dealing with a manufacturer of a software program that realizes that we're all in this together long term, and so what can we do to make it all better?